to introduce you all, I'm Nat, and I am the head of community at Exceptional Individuals. The most relevant thing to let you all know, I've got dyslexia, I've got dyspraxia, I've got mild autism, and also got a bit of OCD. I have had assistive technology most of my life, starting from primary school when I had the different coloured overlays, to secondary school when I had extra readers in my exams, and into university when I was supplied computers, support, and then eventually in access to work. I'm not in a position where I've ever been able to afford any myself, but thankfully there are grants available, and I will talk about some of them today. But I think it's good to just clarify what we mean by assistive technology. It doesn't have to be technical. It doesn't have to be a computer. It could be like a pen. Like I used to have grips, or because of my dyspraxia, I was all wobbly, right? And I had special knives and forks where you can put your fingers in for like grooves. Anything, even glasses, I guess, are assistive technology. Anything which helps you get by day-to-day life with something which some people might call an impairment, others might call just a different way of doing. Without further delay, I'm going to share my screen. So yeah, exceptional individuals support people with neurodiversity. This could be anything from dyslexia, dyspraxia, autism, ADHD, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, even OCD, Tourette's, anything kind of along those lines. There are others, but these are the ones we're going to focus on. Predominantly dyslexia, because that's what affects me the most, but also dyspraxia and autism. Some of these will work for some neurodivergents and not others, and some will not work at all. I always see it a bit like a cocktail, you know, just getting like the right amount and mix. We are a neurodivergent team, so about 80% of our team are all neurodivergent. See that lovely background there? Sunjan, nice to see you. Yeah, I love the smile. So what tech do you use? And this doesn't have to be just assistive technology, because I think we always like to box things up like, well, this counts as assistive because it's designed just for people who have, say, autism or dyslexia, when actually anything that supports you could be beneficial. Like having a little stopwatch or having like a fidget spinner, like that would still count as assistive technology because it allows you to concentrate and bring you up to where your neurotypical peers may be. This is why you could look at like having a cuddly toy, something to like fiddle around with, a pattern, anything which allows you to be the best version of yourself. It doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg. So Imran has said noise cancelling headphones, and I'm glad you said that because for me, they are a lifesaver. They allow me to tune out the world. We've also got a MacBook Pro. I'm also a Mac user. I was very fortunate enough to get given it at university to help me with my studies. And people always ask, right, why are you getting a Mac? And you've got to say to them, it's because they're very user-friendly, they're very easy, and they have great dictation software. But PCs are also getting better and better. We've got a timer app to cook. I agree with that. I know me and April are good fans of HelloFresh. I think you may have changed at the moment, but they have really great things, which I also see as an assistive to help me live my best life. Texting apps, Grammarly, fidget toys, reminder apps, perfect. So I'll post-it notes. And we're going to be looking into some of these today. And I promise you, all the ones I'm recommending today, I get no commissioned. I'm not getting paid by anyone apart from exceptional individuals, and we do not make any money off of this. This is 100% my opinion, and good and bad. Before we get started, have any of you used any of these speech-to-text softwares? There are others, but these are ones that I personally use. So you've got Dragon, which is the one that most people are aware of who's ever used it in the past. You've got Google Assistant / Siri, which count, and voice dictation on Mac and PC. Okay, so it's speechy app, microphone, economic keyboard. If any of you have any others that you'd want to recommend, please feel free to share with us. I use Dragon predominantly, and Dragon is by far the best one, but with everything there's pros and cons, and I do not think it's perfect. I love Google Assistant. I use an app on my phone called Gboard, which is it replaces your keyboard and it means you've always got the microphone. So every single message that I write, I use my voice. So just like you would on WhatsApp, I go like, hello, are you free this evening? more and more people do this, and it's becoming kind of common practice. But I remember when I was the only person doing it, and people would look at you really weird in the streets. Why are you talking to yourself? But it allows me to be my most authentic self, you know, not having to dumb myself down and use my full vocabulary. Sanjay said, found Dragon difficult to adjust, took too long and gave up. You are very right on that, and that is something I will come on to. The other one I'd like to say is the voice dictation on Mac and PC. If any of you I can't speak for PC because I don't use it that much, but if any of you use a Mac, Mac has, you can actually talk to your Mac and it can write it out. I set keyboard shortcuts up, and all you really need to do is go into your like settings and accessibility, and you can set that up. Now, it's not the best, okay? It really isn't. So if you're doing the odd word or two, perfect. If you're writing a whole sentence, it kind of muddles the words up, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. But then again, if you have no other option, why not? Jason, Dragon is no longer available on Mac. A new product, TalkType, is available. Thanks, Jan. I'm definitely no Mac's it's no longer available on Mac, but I haven't heard of TalkType, so I'll give that a go. Now, what I would say when it comes to Dragon is it is expensive, okay? Very expensive. We're looking at the ballpark of around £350. If you've got a good enough computer, if you're on a Windows, and if you write day to day, it is worth it. If you do not match those criteria, it's a hard thing to justify. And the fact is they're always updating. But there is funds available, which I will explain more at the later end of the video or talk. Now, what are the pros? So the pros is it's accurate. A lot of people have tried Dragon before and hated it. They're like, it doesn't work. Well, it has come on a long, long way. If you have the right setup, the right microphone, in the right environment, I must say it hardly ever gets me wrong. There's been a few occasions where it's messed up though. And I can't remember, I was doing a workshop and I was doing an example and it ended up typing out, I have a gun. I was like, I did not say that. I did not say that. But I think more often than not, it runs pretty smoothly. Sanjana said, iPhone speech to text is good for small amounts of text, good for social media posts. And I totally agree. It's not great for like an essay, but for like the odd sentence, it works. The next good thing about Dragon is you can navigate your computer. So maybe you're just like, I don't want to touch this keyboard. You can just keep like, Dragon, open up Windows, or open up Microsoft Word, pause, full stop, scratch that. Honestly though, I don't really know many people that do it. I mean, I use it for really basic things, maybe opening up an application, shutting it down. When you're looking, if you ever choose to get any of this software, people will tell you it's the best thing since sliced bread, right? It can do everything. But the truth is you're not going to use it for everything. You're going to use like one or two features. And there's nothing wrong with that. So try not to get too overwhelmed if you see so many different things. Next one is transcribe recording. So this is on the pro version. I don't think it's on the cheapest version, but I may be incorrect. So imagine that, right? You've got your dictaphone. You recorded a whole lecture of yourself talking. You can then put it into Dragon and it will transcribe it. So it will write out your whole monologue, which is brilliant, really. Obviously, it's not as good as if it was doing it into Dragon directly. And if you've got multiple voices, it's not so good. It basically works well if it's just you speaking. But it's a real time saver if you're like in a meeting or a lecture or recording, and then you can just run it through Dragon. Alex has said, I wonder if it's as accurate with a foreign accent. That's a really, really good point. Truthfully, no. It works best with the Queen's English, you know, and if I tell you my real accent, I'm like, yeah, all right, guys, how's it going? I'm Nat. But I've had to learn to speak awfully posh now. And I tell you, this accent isn't my mother tongue. Yeah, I kind of had to learn to change it. And you could say that's cultural appropriation. At the moment, I'm just thankful to be able to have something which can relay it. But I truly believe it is going to get better over time. Hardy said, I have Dragon, but I don't know how to use it. And that is the next thing. It's not the easiest software. To know all the features, bells and whistles, I still do not know myself. But if you just want the basics, turn on, talk, turn off, it's not so difficult, but you do need training. I wouldn't recommend anyone with dyslexia, for example, to just buy it with no training. Edits text, easy to edit. Okay, we're doing well, guys. All right, that's a lot. Now for the cons. And the cons are important because I'm not a salesman. I'm not trying to flog you anything. You need to know what works, what doesn't work. First one is need privacy or quiet. It will work anywhere, but one, the quality will not be great. And two, do you really want to talk in front of everyone? Like I don't. I feel like a right numpty. I'm sat there, I'm like, scratch that, comma, I want my own room, my own office. And you might not be in that situation. I know in my office, when it was open, trying to get a room is an utter nightmare. So sometimes I could really do with Dragon, but it's not appropriate at the moment. However, working at home has been a bit of a godsend on that regards. Okay, this is the biggest one for me. No update on Mac. And if you are a Mac user and you love the Mac ecosystem, Dragon has failed us. You know, I'm talking to you, mate. You know, you've let us down here. I rely on Dragon every single day, and I love Mac. So it still works. You can buy Dragon for Mac and it will work, but you can never update your computer. So I am on the most up-to-date version at the moment, and I think, it'll probably, but I'm on Mac OS Sierra, and I can't go higher. And I really want the new Mac. It's called the Mac M1 2020. So it's like a really fast computer. It will allow me to do everything I want. But at this moment in time, I'm not buying it because it can't do what I need it to do. I think in the future, maybe the other software will get better. And in the future, you'll be able to run Windows on Mac, which you cannot do on the newest Mac. This is all kind of a bit technical, but just trust me on this. At the moment, it sucks. But I'm hoping my computer will last a little bit longer, and then these features will come available. So April says, I have a 2018 Mac Pro with Mac OS Big Sur on it. Yeah, and it's difficult finding space. So yeah, no trial. Dragon is incredibly expensive, but you can't even try it, you know, try before you buy. I think I would highly recommend you'd find someone else. If you've got an accent or you kind of have a bit of a stutter, or for whatever reason, you do not sound like our precious overlord, Victoria, no, Elizabeth, I keep forgetting the Queen's name, then it's definitely worth giving it a try before buying. Okay, oh, next one is we've got requires training, sorry. And yeah, it's not the easiest. I struggle all the time. And if you're swapping between PC and Mac, if you have the old Mac version, they are different. All right, we're doing good. So the next one is global autocorrect. And this one's a little bit of a hidden gem because I don't think many people know about it. It's automatic spelling correction and comprehensive word library and manual options. Basically, it's a really fancy spell checker, but for £350, it better be fancy. Yeah, and just go. Now, if we can see, I'll get a video and hopefully I can show you a little bit about how it works. Because I think it really is good, and I don't have it on my Mac at the moment.
Spelling mistakes can really disrupt your creative process when writing. Frustrating, isn't it? Imagine if you didn't have to worry about red underlines and spell checking. That's where Global AutoCorrect comes in. It automatically corrects your spelling, so you can focus on what you're writing and use the words you want. When you make a mistake, the software analyzes the sound patterns in the word and understands what you're trying to spell. This intelligent correction happens instantly. If there's a chance you meant something else, the software won't just guess. Simply pick the word you meant and it will be auto-corrected in the future. It also keeps track of your spelling mistakes, so you can see which words you need to work on most. But that's not all. Global AutoCorrect works with you in all programs, whether you're on the web, preparing.
I'll stop there because this really isn't a promotional webinar. But what it does is it really cleverly works out what you were meaning to say and automatically corrects it. And that's good because if you're there's nothing more depressing, right, than being on Microsoft Word and getting red lines under every single thing you write. You know, I've gotten quite, you know, I'm getting into my life now. I'm not going to learn these words to spell. I just want to be able to write. And this is why Global's good. It's good for just, you know, excuse my language, getting shit done. You know, it just works. Now, I don't think it was on Mac before, and that was really upsetting, but it is now. And so it does work across platforms. Personally, if I had a version to it and access to it, I would have it on every single computer, because all you do, once it's on, it's on. You have to do nothing. It just works. And that's what I like about it. And it does, if you actually do want to improve your spelling, it does tell you all the words you spell wrong. Really embarrassingly, I work at Exceptional Individuals, and I have spelled individuals wrong like 375 times and counting. It's the one negative is it might encourage bad spelling, but it really depends. Do you want to improve or do you just want to get on? So it auto-corrects. It has a really large library of words, and I'm always impressed that some really obscure words it knows. It works on both PC and Mac. And you can upload your own words or errors. A good example is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I don't think they think that's a real word, but if it's a word you happen to use all the time, you can tell it that, no, this is a real word. Now the cons, and there are a few, it can't correct two similar words. So what we mean by that is there are some words which are wrong, but are technically in the dictionary. And so it's like, yeah, it's right. It doesn't understand grammar in the slightest. It only understands text. So if you're one of those people that always spelling wrong, but it's still a real word, this isn't going to help you. There's no grammar correction. And that's a shame because I'm always using, you know, R, like O-U-R or A-R-E. I'm always mixing them up. This isn't going to help you. No underline / highlight of corrected words. So it's going to automatically correct things and you will not even know. That's part of the charm, but it also can be a negative. If you go back, you'll just assume it's okay. And actually it may have corrected the wrong thing. I do not see this happening often, okay? It's not a big deal, but worth being aware of. And lastly, resource intensive. Maybe it's because I've got a terrible computer, but my computer does chug along. You kind of need a computer that is, you know, not on its last legs. All right, so now I'm going to put this to you all. What spelling alternatives have you used? Now, you may have not used any of them. There's Grammarly, Microsoft Office Spell Checker, or a smartphone voice assistant, or maybe another one all entirely. Now, I can imagine most of you using Microsoft Spell Check. It's the one that, if you have a computer, everyone uses. It's okay, but okay is not good enough, is it? Not when you're dyslexic. You want something that is able to work a little bit faster, a bit smarter, so it's your bare basic. Now, Grammarly, I love, okay? I actually use Grammarly all the time. And I actually have the paid version, and it's not cheap, you know. I think it cost me like a few hundred of my own money, but it's something which I honestly do all my writing on. So let me see if I can show you. So Grammarly, as the name would suggest, does the grammar, not just the writing. Oh, okay, maybe not. Yeah, here we are. So you see on here, this is something I wrote earlier. Look at me being all prepared. So if I click on that, it says, okay, different pronouns. R. So you know how I mentioned Microsoft Word isn't going to correct this, or global autocorrect, this will. This knows that the word R doesn't seem to fit the right context. So that is the one I want. Perfect. Employ, oh, I meant employment, so I got the wrong tense, because I'm always getting the tenses mixed up, and you can correct it like that. Beautiful. You can also easily go over something and find a different synonym. So we present, oh, maybe, I don't know. And that's pretty good. Another thing which is quite good with Grammarly is you can actually tell it the type of writing you have. Oh. So, okay, tells you the performance. Goals, here we are. So for instance, if I'm doing professional work, I can say, okay, here, audience, what's an audience? We've got general, meaning that every, it's your like Daily Mail, your Sun, everyone can read it. Knowledgeable, a fair amount of words. Expert, we're talking like an academic. So this is the type of language you use. How formal it is. So if you're really formal, there'll be no slang. So you're like, what up, mate? How's it going? It's not going to like that. You've got to be really formal. Informal, you can basically use whatever you want, or natural, standard. Domain, I use this a lot. So general, standard, email, it will make sure that it will look for types of language that people use in emails. Creative will allow you to do poetry and not tell you off for the way you write. Business is the one I use the most, but academic will, for instance, if you use words like I can't come tonight, it will say I cannot come tonight. So it will make you sound more formal. Or if you tend to use like, I really like this, it will tell you like that's too personal and not objective enough. And you can also say your tone. So maybe you want to not offend someone, you can say, I want to be respectful. And it might say, this sentence is okay, but it might come across a little bit aggressive. So I honestly, I like Grammarly a lot. And it's not something I know exceptional individuals often does, because it is on a, it's not a one buy, you've got to buy a subscription. So it's like every year. Anyway, that's enough of me sucking up to Grammarly. Seems good. Many of my students use this. Is this a paid version only? Nah. Is this the paid version? That's the paid version. Okay. And we've got, this is great, pick up Honor phones. The one I've got is a paid version, okay? And the free version only does like the grammar. All the bits I said where you can choose if you want it to be academic, if you want it to tell you if something is aggressive or offensive, that is all the paid version. The other really good thing is they've got a plagiarizing checker. And I'm not suggesting any of us are plagiarizing, but if I tell you how I write, so say I'm writing an email to someone, what I'll do is I'll find a template online, copy it and paste it, and then kind of rework it to be my own language, because I find it very difficult to create from scratch. That's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but you want to make sure that you have edited it and changed it enough. So that's when I'll use the plagiarizer thing to see if it knows that I've used it from another site. So Minna, to your question, I do not think the free version does, but the paid version does cover academic language. So if any of you support students, I recommend it a lot. It will get rid of all your students' abbreviations. It's very smart like that. Okay, next one is your smartphone. Now, this one is by far the simplest, and I use it all the time. So I don't know how to spell individuals, right? So I'm on my phone, and I just literally say individuals. And this works on iPhones and PCs, and it comes up on my phone. Basic, but I use that more than anything else because it gives me the quickest answer for the like one word here and there. All right, going on, we're moving on well. So next is ClaroRead. Now, ClaroRead, people love giving out to people. It's text-to-speech software that reads out text. Now, it ranges between £60 to £200, depending on the, how many bells and whistles you want. I don't like it. I'll be honest with you, I don't like it. But it does work for a lot of people. It's often on PCs. I think if you've got a PC, it's good. But you do have to have it like up ready. It has to always be running. And sometimes it will just read everything. I personally prefer the inbuilt Mac one. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear this, but I'll show you it.
Jan Mulligan to everyone, 12:02 p.m. Hello, hope everyone is well. I have no camera or mic today.
I don't know if you heard that, but that's a setting I have pre-built on my Mac, and I'm just quickly show you. So, and again, I think PC has its own version, but on here, when you go on to System Preferences, you just click Accessibility and go to Speech. And my favorite voice, by the way, is Fiona. She's Scottish, so you can choose your language. And they have all sorts. They have Australian English, Indian English, Scottish English, every type. And it allows you to be more comfortable. You can also make it really fast or slow. And what I like about it is you can choose your own keyboard shortcut. So I've got Control A, and it means that push the button, it reads straight away. Claro, on the other hand, you have to open up, you have to set up, and I find it annoying. But I wanted to include it because it's one that a lot of people get. I saw someone did a thumbs down on it. I mean, I got it works for some people. Yes, Hardy said it's called Read and Write. So that's another really common one. And I won't play the video because I might just show a few seconds of it. But essentially, you highlight the text and it reads it out. The voices are awful, but they are getting better.
Welcome to ClaroRead for PC v6, the reading and writing software solution from Claro. ClaroRead can read back practically any text on screen using one of our high-quality nuanced vocalizer voices.
Claro Software, a rapidly growing innovative software company.
Choose what is read back.
Image technology and touch technology.
Oh, so I don't know if you all agree with me, but that sounded awful. And that's why you've got to play around. You can download different ones. Let me get back to what I was up to. So I don't know if any of you have a preference or a different voice. Personally, I would have loved to have a Yoda one. Correct you must. Okay, nice. All right, so what are the pros of the reading software? Oh no, global autocorrect still, my bad. Okay, here we are. Sorry guys, thanks for bearing with me. Oh yeah, okay, so here we are. I'm asking you, what free text-to-speech alternatives have you used? Google Translate, the inbuilt one on PCs on Mac, or Natural Reader or other? Now, I'm sure you're thinking right now, but Nat, Google Translate isn't a text-to-speech alternative, or is it? Oh yeah, sound like no? It is, and I'll show you why. Trust me on this. So if you want a completely free account, and you don't want to pay money because who wants to pay? You just go to Google Translate, and okay, hello all, nice to see you. Oh, come on, Dyslexia, work. Nice to see you. So you see what we've done here? English, now, rather than going to, rather than translate language, oh, sorry, you've actually got to do it on the actual Google page. You just get it to speak back to you. And it's a little hack that I found, which it's not really made for, but it seems to work just fine. So here we are. Hi all, nice to see you. And then it will go into the translate, and I'll click that button there.
Hello all, nice to see you.
Wow. And again, if you're on any computer anywhere and you do not have access to any of your equipment, I just go on Google Translate and translate my English to English.
Hello, all. Nice to see you.
She's a bit slow, bless her, but you know, it's better than nothing. Now, the inbuilt one on Mac and Windows is, I say, is actually the best. I really don't always feel that you need to have extra, but each to their own. And the next one is called naturalreader.com. There is a paid version, but the free version I actually think is pretty good. And you can only use it so much per day. So like the free version does have limitations, but if you're only using something every like now and then, and it's not something you rely on, not something you rely on, it's pretty good. So yeah, like up here, if you can see, you can choose your language. So I do not want Sharon. I want Lucy. Why not Lucy? And then
Drag and drop your files, or type, paste, and edit text here. Natural Reader is a professional text-to-speech program that converts any written text into spoken word.
So as you can see, like that works straight away online, and it's good. The free version does sound like Stephen Hawkins, but the paid version is good too. It really depends what you kind of platform you use. Oh, okay. Yeah. So thank you. Thanks, Menna, for this. So if you click the dyslexic font, it then changes it to Dyslexia, which is a common dyslexia font. Now, here's a little fun fact. Why does this work? Well, the way the brain reads is that it looks at each different image and it kind of works out what the word is. Now, the dyslexia font has, it's more thicker at the bottom. And the idea is it kind of like makes the brain know the difference between every single letter. For me personally, I don't actually like the font. I find it a bit much, a bit overpowering, but it must work for some people. So if it works for you, you can download it for free. There is a paid one actually, but there are also ones that are very similar, but slightly different, which are free. So you can just type in dyslexic font on Google and there'll be ones you can download. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it may be free for personal use. It's only if you want to use it commercially, then you might have to pay. So,
Natural Reader is a professional.
Oh, okay. Well, enough on that, Lucy. All right. We're getting near the hour. MindView. So this is an advanced mind mapping program with planning and scheduling tools. This is $280. So let's say if you wanted to buy all of it yourself, it's going to break the piggy bank. So maybe think what would work best for you. Now, MindView, and I actually do use this quite often, and it works. So on here, see, 30 before I'm 30, I'm obviously having a midlife crisis, well, a pre-midlife crisis. So it's great because if you're the type of person who struggles with notes, this allows you just to get your ideas out really quickly. So I could just, for instance, click it and then like a new bubble will appear and it's just really easy. Learn to cook pizza, why not? And you can say, when do you want to learn to cook pizza? At what time? Who's going to be involved? It works really good. Now, oh, we got a thumbs up on this, so someone uses it. There are lots of other types though, but one thing I really like about this is it's super user-friendly. So if you're the type of person who uses Microsoft Office, like Word, all the time, they've modeled it so it looks near enough identical to Word. It's not going to take a long time to learn to use if you're very familiar with Office. Now, Menera says, is there a free version? I believe there's a trial. So I think definitely try the trial out. It's probably one of those like 30-day ones. So that's user-friendly. It's visually clear. It's not overwhelming. It can do a lot of things, but I only use it for the most basic. Like I said, with all this equipment, it does everything, but I actually only want to do one thing. many views and conversion options. And what this means is, right, so yes, you love doing mind maps because for you, you find it easier to get what's up here down there. But then if you have to like retype it out in Word or reconvert it into a PowerPoint or an Excel, it's really annoying. You know, because you're dyslexic or whatever, you're being penalized and you're having to take more time than your peers. So what this does is with a click of a button, it converts it into loads of files. An example is it takes your mind map and it can convert it into a Word document, and it does it works pretty well. I'm actually really impressed with it. I personally use the PowerPoint one the most often. You can save it as a JPEG, as a PDF. It's a real time saver if you use mind maps a lot. If you do not use mind maps a lot, you're not saving any time. You might as well just do it directly into the other apps. Good planning tools. If any of you are familiar with like Gantt charts and like time and scheduling, it does all of that. Now some cons. It takes practice. It took me a lot of time. Like if I do not use it for a few months, I'll be honest with you, I forget how to use it. It's user friendly in some regards, but you do really need to practice on it. You know, practice, practice, practice. It's not the use straight away whenever kind of software. Resource intensive. I mean, my computer right now, if you could hear the fan, it's about to take off. It is struggling. And again, it's because it's an old computer, but it's worth knowing. Okay, come on. Oh, less features. Oh, less features in Mac. Now, this is important to know that I use the Mac version and it's perfectly good for me, but the PC version is better. Okay, it definitely is better. So if they're costing the same price, the PC, you're getting a better bargain with PC. There's also an online version, so you can use it wherever you go, but that has even less features. The benefit, though, is that you can open your document wherever. I have the annoying issue where I've created my lovely document, right, my lovely mind map, and I go to work and I want to open up the document. Oh, I don't have it installed on that computer, so I can't open it. I hope in the future they'll allow you to open those documents online as well. I don't think that's possible at the moment. So could you please let me know what other mind mapping software is out there? I have one student who loves mind maps, so I don't want to buy it. Yes, so I will show you a few more in the moment. This one is probably the best one, but I recommend getting a trial if there is one. April has said, mind mapping software she uses is MindJet. I know MindJet is really popular. I've never used it personally though, so I can't really comment. Oh, okay, on this one, so what free mind mapping alternatives have you used? These are, so if you're a mind mapper, Microsoft Office has it pre-installed. It's very basic, but you don't have to learn anything new. Why not? Now, the one I put on here, which you may have not known, is called Coggle. I love Coggle. Coggle got brought by Google not that long ago, and it's really basic. It's colorful, it's easy. The best thing about it and the worst thing about it is that it's simple. You can't do much on it. You can do like 2 little branches off, but you can't go in depth. So if you're just using very basic mind mapping in order to just get your ideas down, Coggle's great. I personally visually like it better than MindView. But if you want to be a power user and really take it to the next level, it's not good. Old-fashioned paper and pen. You know what? Just because we've got all these fancy gizmos and gadgets doesn't mean we have to use it. Okay, next one is CPen. I know this is quite intense, guys. We're just going through them, but hopefully you can get some use out of this. CPen is the industry standard for reading out loud. If any of you are completely computer literate, you just hate computers, and it's just a real stress every time you want to use one, and you never work on them, this is the best. I recommend this to everyone who has a very manual job, maybe on a construction site, maybe on retail, because what's good about it, and I'm sorry I don't have it on me at the moment, is you can just highlight over a book and it will read it out to you. It reads lines beautifully. My mum, for example, she's got dyslexia, and she's a big old Christian. She loves reading her Bible, she does. And the words are really big in it, right? She can't read them, and she doesn't know how to use a computer. So she just glides over it and it will say, Bartholomew. So it gives her that freedom where she doesn't have to ask me every 5 seconds, what does that word say? And that's all it is. It's not for someone who can't read. It's for someone who gets stuck on the odd word here or there. It is an expensive device, and you can, if you work in a school or a college, you can actually buy them in like bulk, and it's pretty good. There's ones that work for schools, work for offices, work for exams. So as you can see, like, it's a nice little thing. You can also plug your headphones into it, so it reads into your ears. Well, I would say that buffering means we've seen enough. You get the idea. You glide over text, it reads back. Now, the pros of this, and bear in mind, there really aren't many great alternatives, is vocal output. You scan over it and it'll read it back to you. You can also plug in your headphones. And if any of you are using like Apple at the moment, they love getting rid of headphones. They just hate it. I would say though, the downside is you can't use Bluetooth. So if you have Bluetooth headphones, this isn't going to work for you. Very portable. You can sit it in your pocket. It's not going to take up any room. So imagine you're out and about. A lot of people we work with who say are at the job center and they get like paperwork and it's really scary, rather than just signing their name away on their soul to anything, what they can do is glide over it and it will tell them, and they'll be able to have their own kind of opinion. We have a lot of parents who struggle with English who use this because they don't really like asking their children all the time. It works in English, Spanish, French, German, I think. And I'm sure they're going to be adding more languages in the future. So the cons though, and there are cons, it's difficult with glossy print. It only really works on matte paper, so non-shiny, and it has to be kind of like standard kind of 12-ish size font. Yeah. With glossy print, it goes crazy. So for example, maybe you're reading like a glossy magazine, it's not going to be great with that. Oh, sorry, someone saying something? Oh, maybe not. We'll, all right, so as we were saying, it's awkward for, like, I would never use this pen to read an entire book, because you'd have to do every line, listen to it, another line, listen to it. It's awkward. It's perfect for the odd sentence or odd word. Spines of books can be difficult. So, you know, when you get into like the edge of the gaps, it's not going to like that. And the biggest thing for me is that it has quite limited uses. So unless you are nearly illiterate and you really struggle with English, that is the only way it would use. I have one, but I'll be honest with you, I don't use it that much because I am heavily dyslexic, but I'm more dyslexic when it comes to spelling and grammar. My reading's okay, and for that means it's not the best for me. But if you, for instance, really do struggle reading, and you're not the type of person to use computers day in and day out, I couldn't recommend it enough. Now, the alternatives, there are none, because it's a physical pen. Like, you're not going to get this for free. It's not going to happen. But OCR is optical character recognition. So this is when you can get like an app on your phone to essentially do the same job. Now we've got Google Keep, which is an app for free. So all you do is say you've got like a magazine or a form, you get your phone, boop, boop, take a picture, and on your phone, it will be able to read it back to you. Now, again, that's free. Why not use it? The only downside is maybe you're in a situation where you are not allowed to use your phone. So a student in an exam, an employee at work, someone at a construction site where things get like broken easily, the pen is great. If you're the type of person who would use it very casually, you know, you're allowed to use your phone, you're a free person, yeah, maybe use the phone, you know, why not get it for free? Text scanner, OCR, that's another good one, or Text Fairy. None of them are perfect, and it does require good lighting, so you'd have to take a good picture of the text for it to read it back to you. But I'd say give it a go, trial and error. The Google's pretty good though, and they're putting a lot of money into it to make it good. I also use CamScan, which a lot of people are quite familiar with that also has a really basic OCR feature, but it is not the best. It's getting there. All right, we're nearly at one, so we'll finish up. LiveScribe pen. This is a pen which you write on paper and it digitally converts it onto your tablet. It's okay. It takes practice. So what I love about it is it's a comfortable pen, converts written words and text very well. You can edit via your phone, so you can like bits and bobs. If you lose things, it's the best. So if you've got dyspraxia and you typically lose things, or dysgraphia, this is a great device. The cons though, for me, are probably quite big. So you've always got to buy new ink. You've got to buy like this paper that has tiny dots on it. It's not so expensive, but it's something to consider. You can't just carry the pen with you. You've got to have the paper as well. You can only have black ink. And I do have some issues with the app. I don't think it's the best app in the world, and for me that's a bit of an issue. But that's my opinion. Now there are alternatives. So I don't know if any of you have used these alternatives, but first of all, you've got Moleskine. Moleskine is more expensive, but it's better, I say, because you can use different color inks. It's being updated more frequently. There's Moleskine shops around the UK, and you can go in and they can help you out with it. Wacom SmartPad is an actual like pad, think like a tablet where you can write on. And again, way more expensive, but if you can afford it, great. Remarkable, you may have seen adverts for it. It is kind of like, you know, like a Kindle when you kind of like, it's kind of like gray. You can write like that, but a bit more expensive. So LiveScribe is by far the cheapest, but what I would say to all of you is before you run out and buy this, maybe go into a Moleskine shop. I know in London there's one in Liverpool Street, and you can ask to have a play with it, you know, experiment. I truly think with this thing, it's far better to try a smart pen before getting one because it really isn't for everyone. I used mine for quite a while, but to be honest, I stopped in the end because I just found the app a bit glitchy. But when it did work, I found it very useful. And last but certainly not least, Dictaphone. You can get them from as cheap as £15 all the way up to $360 for a high quality one. These are, you love them or hate them, dictaphones. Some people use them every single day. They'll run it through Dragon once they've recorded it. Others will have a dictaphone and it will probably never come out on the packet. It's very individual. So the pros, complete data capture, meaning that you record the whole meeting, you're not going to miss anything. Very portable, makes reviewing the meetings easy, great for note-taking. The cons, however, recording is not always appropriate. So for instance, people find it, if you've ever been in a meeting, people do not like being recorded. That is a fact. That, you know, you'll notice you'll have a really honest conversation, you start recording and they'll get really political. So April said, I used the dictaphone in the past, but now I use the voice memos app on my phone. That's a really good point. If you're a smartphone user, use your phone, it's free. But there are situations where using a phone isn't appropriate. So maybe you're recording a meeting it looks a bit unprofessional to use a phone. So having a cheap dictaphone is better for that. The other thing is, so what I would do, I'd always record all my meetings and I'd never listen to it ever again. It would, what was the point? Yes, peace of mind, knowing that I've got it recorded is great, but I didn't have anything to, I never did. Human error. I don't know if any of you have done this. Have you ever thought you were recording something only to find out you never pushed the button? Oh, yeah. I've done it so many times and it hurts. And to be honest, if you have so many bad experiences, you kind of don't bother ever using it again. April says, I can always put airplane mode on my phone when I record meetings so that phone calls won't interrupt the meetings. Thanks, that's a really good thing. Requires maintenance, so you might have to delete the files, which if you're not very good on computers, recording's nice and easy, playback's quite easy, deleting files, you kind of need to know how to use a computer. Now, just to finish up with, because I know we've gone slightly over, what type of assistive tech would be the most use to you? So of everything I said today, would it be mind maps, reading pen, spell check, text-to-speech? You just move them around on your phone and put them in order. And this will definitely help us as well, for when we're recommending technology to people who are neurodiverse. And bear in mind, it's mainly catered towards dyslexia because it's the easiest tech thing to have. For autism, I mainly use noise cancelling headphones. Dyspraxia, I'll use things like Tile to stop me losing things, like little trackers. And for ADHD, maybe a fidget spinner. Dyslexia definitely has the advantage. Oh, so the winner here is mind mapping, spell check, text-to-speech software, reading pens. Do you know, that's interesting. I always thought it'd be less for mine. Oh, text-to-speech. This is thrilling, isn't it? Watching this. Who's going to win? But I am surprised about mind mapping. For me, I don't find it as useful. The text-to-speech is my number one. Oh, and it looks like yours also. Now, if you have ever used any of these before, I would love to know if you found these completely useless or life-changing, because I've given you my opinion today, and it's only my opinion. I think if you're going to invest in something, it's good to have a broad range of people's experiences. Dragon 50/50, global autocorrect, someone said not at all. Oh, if you notice at this, it's quite interesting because on MindView, some found it completely useless, other people found it life-changing. ClaroRead, the exact same. And that's important to know that what one person's opinion is doesn't necessarily translate to another person. All of these things I mentioned, I have known people that have found it life-changing, but I also know other people that never used it. That's why if you can test it out, do. You really will benefit. The only one apparently you won't benefit from is global autocorrect. But I think that's normally because not many people have heard of it. It's one of those ones which is less known about. Dragon, most people know about, but I think you've got to be a particular type of person and a particular type of environment to get the most out of it. So the Keywing, I brought these for my son who has dyspraxia. I can now actually open the front door. Oh, thanks, Imran. That's a really good suggestion. The Keywing, I'll look into that. I don't have one on me, but those little tile devices where you can always find my keys. I should have put this on the list, to be fair. That's really been helpful. Now, some honourable mentions. Coloured overlays, simple, but can be effective. Find the right colour. It helps take off the pressure if you find contrast difficult. Noise cancelling headphones or headphones in general. Music. So those two are different. Like for ADHD, for instance, or autism, they can be really useful. I love Spotify. Spotify is some of the best money I've ever spent because it allows me to relax. It keeps me focused. And you might not think that's assistive technology, but it absolutely is. Daylight lamps. If you're the type of person who might get a bit depressed because, I'm depressed at the moment, the weather, the world, having like a light which makes it feel like it's daytime can brighten up your mood and allow you to work more confidently. Sarah has said, what headphones would you recommend? That's a big old conversation. I would say If you're looking for noise cancelling, if you're spending less than £50, it's going to be terrible. A good pair of noise cancelling headphones you should pay for. For normal headphones, get whatever you want. You know, you can buy ones for £5 and they work fine. But if you want noise cancelling, I really recommend paying more money because you get what you pay for when it comes to headphones. So daylight lamps and digital and physical calendars. Organisation is not the strong point of people with dyspraxia, ADHD, dyslexia, to be honest with you. To some people, but not for the most. So having a calendar, something which you can always refer to, something that can send you reminders, basic, but sometimes the most basic things give the biggest impact. Alarms, reminders, to-do lists. I use a service called Todoist, which I love, and I use it all the time. But there's Evernote, which one of you mentioned earlier. Google has its own to-do list, or just an original one. Oh, on this headphones, Imran said, I got some hybrid noise cancelling from Amazon. They were about £60, quite reasonable and work well. So yeah, that's good. I think I got a pair that cost me £50, and it's good enough for, you know, in the office now and then, but it's not the best. You know, you've got to try it out, really. Sanjana said, I find classical instrument music using low volumes. And Alex has asked, how do coloured overlays work? Well, our eyes look at colour and it takes in different colours, but some colours the eyes can find a bit overpowering. So say if you're using the yellow one, what it does is it will stop yellow light from coming through the eyes, and it can change the contrast. So if you read paper which is white and black text, white paper, that's a really big contrast which the eyes can find tiring. If you use, like, you know, dim the color down and the white is suddenly not white, it makes it easier on the eyes. Most people will use yellow, but if you only try yellow, you might realize that it doesn't work because everyone's eyes are different. For me, I use baby blue and all purple. And sometimes I'll use two on top of each other. So like one yellow's not enough. I need like two to get the right blend. So it really depends on the individual. Do not just get standard yellow. You need to have all the colors in order to find out what one works best for you. So, oh, you guys are really doing great today. Imran said, I changed the light bulbs at home to all warm white away from cool white, which I find oppressive and sterile. I totally agree with you. I love smart lighting. I'm like, Alexa, make the lights blue. Sorry if I've set any of yours off. Can you overlay online works like on Wall? Can you use overlays on online work like Word? Absolutely. So either you can get a little grip which goes over your computer, so it's a physical thing on your screen, or something like Text to Read or ClaroRead also has a inbuilt feature, and that does that as well. You can also get ones like apps or plugins that change the color of the screen. I use something which changes my screen color depending on what time of the day it is on. So in the evening, it goes more of a yellowy color. In the morning, it's more whiter. So it feels a bit more natural. And we're very mostly there, guys. So thanks for holding on. I would like to know from you, what assistive tech for neurodivergent people have we missed? Is there anything which you think has been a game changer for you that I haven't mentioned? Because I'm always learning. I do not know all of them. And it's one of those things you've got to stay up to date on. So Imran has said, lots of monitors. If you play with menus using the buttons, can adjust them as well. Yes, I'm a big fan of having at least two monitors. I can't today, but normally having multiple monitors, it just makes everything less boxed in and it's easier to process. So I always have my calendar up. I have my main screen. I have a web browser. April has said, audio note taker. I wrote a previous message about it in this chat. Thank you. How do you change those settings to mimic a physical overlay? That's something I'd have to show you individually. But if you already have it, then it's just, it's in the settings where you can like give it either a digital overlay or a physical overlay. I literally just stick the thing with a bit of tape. So we've got Speechy app is for free. Immersive reader on Word, yes. Microsoft or 360 on PowerPoints, as you're talking, it will automatically do the subtitles. That's a great one. And I don't know, but this has been very helpful. I am very happy with that. And to quickly summarize, if any of you say, nah, I love this technology, but I'm broke and I live in the UK, well, thankfully, there's a government grant called Access to Work, and you can get it either through exceptional individuals or get it independently. Unfortunately, it's only in the UK, but each country has their own. So all you need to get this grant is to secure a job, have a short assessment, about an hour. We apply for the grant and we apply the training. So you can always contact her via the information below. And I'm working from home, so I have a custom setup, spent a lot of money on the office chair, which makes it actually work. Large monitor, yeah. Sometimes you do have to spend in order to receive back. Not always possible though. These are things that if you ever want further support, you can always get in contact. If you're an individual, we're always free. And if you're a company, you know, we're very reasonably priced, and we use any money we make as an organization, we use to give free stuff back to you lovely people, because I don't personally think people who think differently should ever have to pay for the privilege. I think it should be for everyone. Any final questions or forever hold your peace, guys? This is the first webinar I've ever gone over time on, and I think that's because there's so much content to cover on this. I've only scratched the iceberg, but one bit of advice I'd give to you, if you've tried something and it doesn't work, try something else. I don't just use one bit of software, I use multiple things. It's a cocktail. I keep trying different things until I find the right thing that works for me. There's no right or wrong answers. And an assistive technology is anything that you find beneficial. You do not have to pay hundreds of pounds in order to find benefit from something. Thanks, Nat. It's been really useful. It was very illuminating. I like that. And here is the information if you want to contact us. I really hope you enjoyed, guys. It's been a real privilege, and this has been a bit more of a personal one for me, because normally I give another perspective, but this has been mine. Everything I've talked about today, I've used personally, and every bit of advice I've given, I promise you, 100% honest, no bias attached. So I hope it was helpful. All right, all, well, have a lovely day and Happy New Year, and please stay safe.
Thanks, Nat. Brilliant. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Bye.